Well, good morning, everyone. It is a very crisp morning here. I'm in I can never pronounce it. I'm in Los Cienegos National Conservation Area, and I'm leaving here today to actually go to Tombstone. But I wanted to get on here real quick and go through some of the questions that you guys have given me and asked in the comments. So some of you are new to my channel, some of you are not. Hopefully this is beneficial for all of you. We're going to get into it really quickly, but if you're new to my channel, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. So my name is Amber, and I've been on the road now for almost a full 4 years, going into my 5th year. I started out in a Class C RV. I downsized into this Class B van, and I did that a year after I started RVing, and I did it because I really wanted to downsize into something that was more beneficial for me and that could get me to a bunch of different places. I didn't have to worry about height restrictions or things like that. So the Class B van was perfect for that. And I've really enjoyed it. I had to downsize a lot, but I really, really love it. So I've been all over the United States. I've been to Mexico, I've been to Canada, and now I'm headed to the East Coast. I'm doing this epic trip this year where I'm going all the way from the West Coast to Florida, taking the southern coastline, and then up the east coastline to Maine, then to Michigan, down to Nashville, Tennessee, and back to the west by the end of the year. It's gonna be amazing. I'm so excited. So I hope you'll come along with me. Okay, let's get into the questions. All right, so the first one is from Michelle Stratford. She says, did I hear you say you have a freezer? May I ask what you have? I live in my RV and I'm really missing having a freezer. Yeah, that's a big one. So I do have a refrigerator freezer combo in my van. It came with it, but the freezer just doesn't freeze that well, and it's really, really tiny. So when I say tiny like that, it's probably about that height and about that much in width. So it's really, really tiny. It does not freeze very well. I'm in my 3rd year of being in the van, and I finally decided maybe I should get a portable freezer, but I wanted something to work off of a 12-volt plug. So I'd installed this USB 12-volt plug underneath my bench, and that's actually where I plug my portable freezer into. So it sips the electricity, and I'm on solar, but I do drive, and my van charges my batteries. The name of the freezer is called Astro AI. It's a small freezer that I can push underneath the desk or in between the seats if I want to. It's very lightweight, even when it's full, so it's really easy for me to move around. So the next question is from Teresa Fisher, and she says, do you not have a shower in the van? The van actually came with a shower, but it does not work very well. It has a shower pan in it that cracks all the time. I can't seem to get that fixed. Now, could I potentially fix it? Yes, but I decided not to because the whole setup in there is just not conducive. Without going into all the details, it is just not conducive for taking a shower, especially as a full-time person. And I don't have enough water to take a shower every single day. I have a 30-gallon water tank, and I really, really try to conserve it because a lot of times I try to stay out in places where I'm boondocking, where I can stay a little bit longer, sometimes up to 2 weeks, and I really want that water to last. So I don't take a shower in there. I typically will go to public showers like state parks. I'll go to truck stops. Sometimes laundromats will have it. I used to have a gym membership and I would go there as well, but I canceled that after 2020. Believe it or not, truck stops actually have really, really great showers. I know, it's surprising. Sometimes they look like spas in there. Not all the time, but sometimes. But they're actually pretty good. So you might be asking, okay, if I'm out boondocking a lot for, say, 2 weeks, how do I bathe if I'm not taking a shower until I go into public restrooms? Well, I use my kitchen sink to wash my hair, which is what I did this morning. I wash my face in the kitchen sink. I wash my body in the kitchen sink with just a washcloth. Sometimes I'll use wet wipe. So it all works. I stay clean. Okay, so the next question is from Linda Harris. And she says, if I may ask, how do you support yourself? Is it very expensive? Well, when I first started on the road, I had a job. It was a 9-to-5 corporate job. And I decided to go ahead and leave that position because I didn't want to keep working for a company, and I was really, really, really stressed out. I was working 60 to 80 hours a week, sometimes 100 hours a week, and it just didn't feel good to me anymore. I was stressed out, my health was suffering for it, and so I decided to save up enough money to quit and start my own business, which is what I do here, YouTube. So I make videos for YouTube so you guys can be entertained hopefully, or learn something from what I'm doing. I also have courses that I put together. I have several free courses and they're in the description box below this video if you want to check those out. One's on budgeting, another one is on this create, do, live process I have about manifesting your dreams. Another one is how to travel to Mexico. And another one is a free masterclass on transitioning into the nomadic life. And then my paid course is called Nomad Mentorship Bootcamp. That one is this 8-module course where you get to learn everything there is to know about transitioning to this nomadic lifestyle, from how to get an RV to what kind of a job do you need to get on the road if you still need income. How do you make income on the road? How do you work remotely? How do you start a business? There's just so many different things to think about. So what you'll get out of it is a full action plan by the end of the 8 weeks. Plus you get to get on video calls with me and the other nomadic students on there and learn from everyone. So it's really great. If you want to check that out too, it's in the description box. The next question is from Penny Sue. And she says, my first time seeing your vlog, aren't you scared being out there in the middle of nowhere by yourself? How do you feel safe? This is a question that I get quite a bit. And I guess because I'm female and I'm by myself, I get that. I know men go through this as well. And so I was afraid when I first started. For sure I was afraid. And I knew though that I wanted to boondock in most places. I didn't want to stay in campgrounds. And so I figured I'm going to have to get over this fear. And really the only way you get over it is by doing it. I was in Idaho off of Snake River, my very first time boondocking. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. And I heard something in the middle of the night outside. It's pitch dark outside. You cannot see a thing. You're in the middle of nowhere. I heard something in the middle of the night. And I thought, oh my God, there's somebody out there. I thought I'm going to leave all my camping gear outside and I'm just going to take off. That was my class C at the time. And I was like, nope, I can't do it. I'm just going to, it's probably just an animal out there. It's no big deal. I got to get through this. Needless to say, I did not sleep very well that night, but I got through it and I continued to do that night after night after night. And then I was fine. I feel much safer out boondocking in rural lands than being in a city. Even when I urban camp, it makes me a little bit nervous sometimes. Being out in nature and out where there's hardly any people, I mean, nobody's usually coming out here to harm you. It's just more peaceful, it's more quiet, and you'll get used to it. As far as like, how do I keep safe? I'm not going to go into every little thing that I have just for privacy purposes, but I guess my best advice to you is do what you feel is comfortable to you to keep safe. If that means having a weapon, a baseball bat, mace, bear spray, whatever that is, and makes you feel comfortable, that's what you need to do. So the next one is from Amy Piddington. I hope I'm saying that right, Amy. She says, hi Amber, nice video. Thank you, Amy. If you have time, I have a quick question. I'm considering purchasing an e-bike similar size to yours. Are you able to put your bike on and off the carry rack by yourself? The bike I'm considering weighs 63 pounds and I'm concerned it's too heavy to lift. Yes, I do have the Rad Mini e-bike. It's 67 pounds with the battery on. I do carry it on a rack. The rack that I have, oh my gosh, the sun is getting in my eyes. I'm gonna have to move. That is much better. I don't think the sun is in my eyes as much. So I do have the e-bike. I have that on the Rocky Mounts Swing Away bike rack. The thing that I love about it is you can tilt it down so you can put the bike on there a lot easier. The key for me is I take the battery off, which brings the weight of the bike down just a little bit. And I also do that for security purposes. So if someone wants to steal my bike, they're not going to want to steal it without the battery because the battery is very, very expensive. Then what I do to put the bike on the carrier, I actually put the front tire up first, lock it down, and then I pick up the back end and put it on the rack and then lock it down. I actually have a video that I'll link here that shows you my entire process for that. So hopefully that will help you. I can't pick that entire bike up. It's too heavy for me. And that's just the easiest way that I have found to load the bike on the bike rack. The next one is from Jay Montserrat. Jay actually has two questions. Amber, what are you charging with your portable solar? So I have the Jackery portable solar panels and the power station. It's a 1,000-watt power station. I use that to charge basically like all my camera equipment inside my van, my computer at night. If I'm outside and doing a time lapse with my GoPro, I'll plug my GoPro into that so that my battery will stay charged. I charge my bike with it outside. It charges a lot of things, but the majority of the time I use it to charge things at night so I don't drain my batteries at night on my house batteries on my van, or have to turn my engine on to start the second alternator to charge the batteries. So it works perfect for that, and it really lasts a long time. I even charge my Apple computer off of it, which is a power hog. And I probably get, I've never really counted, maybe 5 to 7 charges off of that battery. But that's of course with charging everything else too. So Jay's next question is, how long do you run your van in the morning? Your furnace runs while the van is running. So when it's cold outside, I obviously need heat because it's really cold at night. And I have a furnace. It's the Trumacombi water heater and furnace. In the mornings, I like to run the furnace off of that Trumacombi system. I can run the Trumacombi furnace off of propane, or I can run it off of electricity. So if I wanted to run it off of electricity, I could run it off of my batteries, but it's going to drain those batteries really, really quickly, and you have to have the inverter on. So that's not something that I do unless I'm plugged into shore power. Now, what I typically do is I'll run the furnace in the morning with the propane gas, but because it's so cold and I want the van to heat up quickly, I actually turn the van on itself, which helps charge my batteries, and I turn the dashboard heater on high, and it heats the van very, very quickly, and it doesn't put such a strain on the furnace and the propane that I have in my tank, because I have a very, very, very small propane tank, and it's really difficult to fill. So I don't like to fill it all the time, so that's how I opt to heat up the van in the morning, and it works perfect. The next questions don't necessarily have a specific person that asked it. It's just general questions that I get quite often. So the first question is, what does boondocking mean? I talked about it earlier with boondocking out in nature, and this is boondocking right here. It's out on rural lands, BLM, national forest, where you're not hooked up to sewer, water, or electricity. And typically, like I said, it's out on land like this. So you're boondocking out here and hanging out in the wild, the nature, and really, really enjoying it. It's beautiful, and most of the time it's beautiful, and typically very, very quiet. Boondocking is hands down my favorite way to camp. In order to boondock, you need to have a van or an RV that is pretty self-contained. One that has obviously a water tank, a black tank, and probably solar panels. You can use a generator. I hear a generator going on in the background right now. There's a camper that just pulled in last night, and if you guys have been on my channel a while, oh, someone else just started it over there. He pulled in last night too. I've been out here all by myself, and these people pulled in over here. Hopefully you can't hear it. I have this new mic on that's like in my shirt. So hopefully you can't hear it, but I apologize if you can. But it's loud, and you don't want to hear that in the morning. You want to hear it out in nature. But people have them. I just prefer solar because there's a little bit of initial cost to get the solar panels put up and get the whole system working and everything. But it's quiet and it's efficient, and you get free energy from the sun. So I just prefer it, especially like coming out here and being in the wild and being more peaceful. All right, so the next one is, do you have problems leaving your dog in the van? And what do you do with her when you leave? Well, I don't have problems with her typically. I mean, I have to really work my travel around her because it can't be too hot outside. She'll get really hot in there, and I can't leave her in there when it's too hot. If it's cold outside, it's fine. She'll stay warm in there. I have ways of keeping her warm in there. But if it's too hot, I just have to figure something out. The van will stay cool with the Fantastic fan open and with the skylight and some of the other windows open. But if I'm gone away from the van, I don't want the side windows open or the sliding door open for theft purposes. You know, just those two, the roofette and the skylight. If it's really hot, it won't work very well to keep her cool. It just really depends on what the temperature is. And I try to follow that 70-degree temperature. So typically I'm not in really, really extreme hot areas. I do have an AC, but I don't like to use it. It's really, really loud. And typically you want to be plugged in to shore power to use it. My van can use it if I keep charging my batteries off of my alternator, but I don't know, it's just too much of a mess and too much stress and hassle to deal with, so I just don't prefer to do that. What do I do with her when I leave is the second part of the question. She just hangs out in the bed of the van, or she sits in the chair and sleeps. She stays pretty comfortable there. She doesn't really bark or anything, and she doesn't tear anything up, so I just leave her out. I don't crate her or anything. She's always been really good about staying in there and not tearing things up. So that's just her preferred method of hanging out in the van. Another person asked, aren't you vegan anymore? No, I'm not. I've been vegan like 3 times in my life, and I'm always coming up protein deficient, like really severely protein deficient. And I try to get all sources of protein with a vegan diet, and I still am protein deficient. Plus, this last time I had super foggy brain and memory loss. Like I just couldn't think clearly. And I had a feeling it was the protein, and sure enough, I was protein deficient. And so I started eating meat again. I know you vegans and vegetarians are all going to get on me about that. And I'm not saying that it's bad. I really prefer that way of eating. I love a plant-based diet, but just is not working for me for some reason. So when I started eating a little bit more chicken, my body didn't have an adverse reaction to it, and I felt so much better. So it took about 2 weeks for my brain to basically clear up, and it was so much better. I felt really, really good. But I still eat a lot of plants. I do. You might have seen the steak that I recently ate though, but don't judge me. All right, so the next one is, do you run your Instant Pot with a Jackery? I do not. And to be honest with you, I hadn't even thought of it. I had to go look it up. So I have a 3-quart Instant Pot, and it is 700 watts. My Jackery power station is 1,000 watts. So ideally, it should work off of that. I imagine it would. I should probably try it. I'll have to get back to you on that one, but I've never really needed to. I usually just start the van, and I'm charging everything else off of that Jackery, so I just haven't. But you know, it's a good test to try out. I'll try it out and then get back to you. So the next one and the last one is, how can I support your channel? So this is a question that I also get a lot of, and I'm always very, very humbled by it because I don't typically go out there and talk to you guys about this. I'm always like concerned that people are going to think the whole e-bagging thing. So the ways that you can support me, there are several ways. I have Amazon links to any products that I'm ever showing on my channel. It's in the description box of every single video. It just links to my Amazon store. You can go there and purchase anything from my links. Anything that you purchase from there is no extra cost to you, but I get a small commission off of that every time you purchase something. That's one way. The other way is I have YouTube memberships. That's that join button that's next to the subscribe button on my channel. And that one I really, really like because you also get something back from that too. So if you join that, it's anywhere from $2.99 up to $9.99 a month, depending on what level you want. There's all different benefits that you get from that. If you just click on that join button, you can look at all the different benefits for each different level and then just decide which one you want. The other one that I have is a tip jar, and that's also in the description box. All of these are in the description box, by the way. You can support me that way. I have ads on all of the YouTube videos, so I'm supported that way as well by you guys. If you want to take a course from me, all of my courses are listed also down in the description box. And then I have a blog called storychasing.com, and you can go there and check out any of my content on there as well. I have multiple ways that you can also help support me on the blog, so go check that out. Thank you so much for asking that question. Guys, I really, really appreciate all of these questions. Thank you so, so much. And if you have any more, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. And remember, guys, keep chasing your dreams. Story chasing is all about creating moments and chasing your dreams and fulfilling them. That is key, fulfilling them. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.